This solidifies Zebec ZBCN to Swift, ISO 222, and the Super app. This is some of the biggest news with the newest recent updates about everything going on with Zebec. Consider smash that like if you haven't done so already. We're going to get right into the material, why it matters to you, get some key analysis from Rue Black, and why it all matters. So let's just jump right into it.
After these messages, we'll be right back. Yeah.
How would you like to earn an extra $100, $200, or even $500 a day, even more than that? I have many friends that are earning money every single day trading futures on BTCC. It's a simple process, and even if you don't want to learn how to trade, you could follow a trader on the site and let him do the trading for you. Currently, I am following BlackRock, and no, it's not the Larry Fink BlackRock, that's just his name, but this gentleman has a win rate of 95.33%. His assets under management is a little over 96,000, so he has a lot to lose. Don't just follow the people that have very little to lose. Follow the ones that actually are consistently trading. This is currently full at the moment at 1,200 copy traders. So if you see this basically have an open slot, again, not financial advice, you may want to consider jumping into that. Here's why. As you also see, the last 7 days, his win rate is 100%. The last month, his win rate is 95.51%. And the last 3 months, he's doing about roughly 89%. Again, a lot of you guys want just a copy trader that you can basically follow. But again, don't set it and forget it. Learn copy trading. And again, I'm not trying to have any of you guys use your hard-earned money to lose anything. You don't know what you're doing? Don't jump into this, but there is money to be made, and don't use your nest egg for leverage trading. Use a separate portfolio. But I suggest learn how to trade. Earn you some extra money on BTCC. It's easy. You don't have to KYC, and you don't have to use a virtual private network VPN. This is a wonderful site. They've been around since 2011. Give them a shot. Also, when you earn that extra money, you can store that on your Decent wallet. The Decent wallet was not affected by the recent XRPL debacle, where the backdoor of many wallets was open and there was a breach. So Decent wallet was not affected by that. Decent wallet is as safe as you keep your seed phrase. It's a wonderful product, and you can get the discount by using the link. It's the only way to get the affiliate discount, and that is to use an affiliate link. So that link is popping up on the upper right side of your screen, and it is the one that you will use. You will also get free shipping. Pick you up a Decent wallet today. Secure your assets. If you don't have them stored in a wallet and sitting on an exchange, then you're at risk. So pick you one up today. Thank you. First thing comes from Zebec headquarters, Zebec network, and in the recent announcement that you see here that was literally from September 12th, this all matters. We understand that, yeah, there's a lot of participants going on with, for example, SIBOS, but sometimes people don't realize why that's so big. For one, as you see, it's the announcement. Zebec being proud to be exhibited over at SIBOS in Frankfurt with their partners. Stay tuned as major announcements with leading SIBOS partners are coming soon. Now, let's talk about this for a moment. For one, I want you guys to realize when we talk about some of these things, sometimes when people see SIBOS, they don't even know what it's technically meaning. Well, before we get into the definition, which some people don't know about, let's talk about this announcement. So for one, you see it from SIBOS, and in it, you see here, specifically speaking, we don't even need to play the whole video, from September 29th, join global financial community in Frankfurt, that's in Germany, for 4 dynamic days of innovation and collaboration. Let's drive industry progress together. The countdown to SIBOS 2025. Again, be part of this whole thing. It's just, you know, it's a nice little video, but we don't really need to play it. The point I want to share with you guys is, again, a lot of people don't even know that SIBOS is technically Swift's own event. So people are like, well, will Swift be at it? Of course they're going to be at it. It's literally part of their previous name. SIBOS is previously known as Swift International Banking Operations Seminar. Now, you may feel as though most people know that. Again, there's a whole new wave of people who don't know that. So again, I'm going to kick it over to Rue. We're going to have something here to talk about and solidify with the findings. Why this is such a big deal, because you're going to see with the research, with an actual document, not just me citing stuff from X, there's nothing wrong with that, but showing the receipts, as the saying goes, and solidifying the connection of Zebec to Swift, ISO 222, and a big update for that super app. I think this is big to get into this. Always glad to be with Rue once again in that regard. I'm going to kick it over to you, Rue. What do you think about all this?
Okay, so most people, we talk about Swift when it's talking about payroll, right? And payroll is going to be a big thing, being kind of an on-ramp and off-ramp to payroll. That's Zebec's purpose there. But a lot of people forget about the USDY connection that they have with Ondo as far as real-world assets and tokenizing real-world assets. That's going to be a huge thing for Zebec, because the Zebec cards are going to be the off-ramp for the real-world assets, where they can use USDY as an off-ramp to use that on a Zebec card. Okay, so you can use that with the Zebec card, have your interest generating from your USDY through Ondo and Stellar, and it's going to be a very nice time for you. So we got the payroll part, and we got the real world asset part with Zebec as well.
Well said. We're going to jump into some things. So for one, Rue has done probably a better job than anybody I've seen out there. There's other people in the community and so on that have covered, obviously, Simon Babakani. So we've been there and done that, but just kind of reiterate the significance of him specifically. You see here, of course, back to what Rue was talking about, like your payroll, all that. So again, we've been there. HCM, payroll investments. He has a robust resume, as you see here. His background, Bain Capital, Thayer Street Partners, private equity associate. I mean, it just really goes way back, right? Now watch this. Something I want to point out with you guys is basically this right here. I want you guys to keep in mind that sometimes you may ask Grok specific questions. There's nothing wrong with that. So is there any key members with Swift ties? Well, some people say yes, but we don't want to just do indirectly speaking. We want to do direct, right? So we recover Sam. Some people feel as though it's indirect with Swift. Same with Simon. It's like, was there direct? Well, we recovered the whole thing with direct. Let's introduce a guy that you may not even be aware of. And it's this guy. It's Aniruddha, butchering up his name, I apologize, Dasgupta, CTO or Senior Technology Lead, Direct Professional Commentary, Expertise, and Payment Standards. Dasgupta, with 18 plus years in high performance teams, has publicly discussed Swift's ISO 222 rollout on LinkedIn. Again, this guy is a key player, or was, I should say, with Zebec, all the way up to, I believe, the end of 2024. And again, still has direct influence on good terms from my knowledge of what I've seen with the research with Zebec. So his discussion about Swift's ISO 222 rollout, again on LinkedIn, praising its potential for, quote, streamlining cross-border payments and rich data capture at the source. His post referenced Swift's strategy for instant, frictionless transactions, aligning, of course, with Zebec's real-time streaming tech. Okay, that's important. It says, as a UC Berkeley alumni and Zebec protocol contributor, he leads architecture for multi-chain scalability. For example, Solana, Binance, Near, which supports Swift-like global messaging. His involvement via Visa dispute intelligence and AI-driven payments tools bridge Zebec to Swiss ecosystem. It says no format Swift employment, right? But his thought leadership indicates deep familiarity and potential advisory ties. Okay, so I wanted to share that with you guys. I feel as though that's very important to do so. So getting into this next part real quick, I want to take you over to a little bit more about why this is so big. So for one, I want to take you over to this whole thing, and let's share this on the screen as well. This is his LinkedIn. Again, Aniruddha Dasgupta. Payment and crypto, small, medium enterprise. That's what SME stands for. Principal architect, crypto and payments, senior engineer and product manager. And look what it says, ex Visa and Gemini. Now, again, Rue, you cover some of this in regard to specifically, Gemini. I think we both have. And I think this is interesting to see these ties. I'll get your 2 cents on that here in a bit, but I just wanted to point that out as well. We're going to jump in more about this gentleman and why he matters. We also see here product-driven technology leader, deep expertise, blockchain, we get that, right? Over the past decade, he's worked at the intersection of fintech, innovation, enterprise architecture, helping banks, and I like this term, neobanks. So how many times have we seen the highlight about neobanks? Because neobanks in the past, remember the whole thing we talk about like XRP and how XRP is going to be solution to get rid of the old Nostro Vostro tied to those neobanks. But look what it says here: crypto platforms modernizing core infrastructure, launch new payment experiences, and navigate regulatory complexity. So this guy has a lot of experience, and his collaboration with that experience, because again, engineering, I like seeing this because it tells me he's an architect. He understands the infrastructure, right? All right, there's more. Taking over to here, this citation comes from a company called theorg.com. They highlight him here. And one thing I want to point out here is basically that Dasgupta, accomplished fintech professional, extensive experience in payments, constant highlights about payments, manager to director of payment authorization risk, product development, again, with Gemini and Visa. That's a big deal. All right, here is probably the main highlight of this video. In the highlight, I want you guys to see there's this company. It's called RS Software. He has ties to RS Software specifically. And one of the things I wanted to bring to your attention actually is when we jump back here, you see on Indeed that he was Chief Product and Technology Officer from a while back in 2022 to November 2024. And then we get more further down into his background specifically. One of the things that came up, basically speaking, is this connection to RS Software. Okay. I don't have on this exact page, but it's on another page. Actually, I'm going to bring this up right now. As we pull this up, he has ties to this thing called RS Software. So again, what is RS Software? Why does it matter to you? Well, for one, what's interesting here is when we scroll down in this PDF about RS Digital Edge, unlocking power of digital payments, there is some mention about Swift. And no, I understand this is just the word Swift, but it's, again, the terminology. RS Digital Edge delivers seamless financial experiences across payment rails, revolutionizing without disruption, powered by a robust orchestration engine, guarantees secure, high performance, and scalable transaction processing. Plus, its low-code configurability ensures swift implementation, setting new standards in efficiency and innovation. And on the left, it says API first, cloud first, composable, low-code, configurable, microservices-based, ISO 222 ready dev portal and sandbox. I would say for the most part, very well worth pointing out, because it leads us to some other things, and those other things is how this all comes full circle, as the saying goes. Because when you look more into it, it's like, what does Zebec have here that's so crucial? Okay, so let's take you back to this other thing about IBM. Okay, so as we get into it, it's like IBM. Okay, well, what exactly do we have in regards to RS Software? All right, and as we pull that up, you see specifically here, like for example, this whole thing of RS Software. So again, this gentleman and his ties to it, not just IBM and so on. I thought this was, again, definitely worth pointing out. I want to take you to that part that highlights specifically IBM. Here it is, basically. I apologize. So again, his experiences. Okay, so again, we're going to highlight his name: accomplished fintech professional experience in payments. When we go down to here, it's his previous companies. So again, it highlights Gemini, highlights Hewlett Packard. Interesting to see that. Again, Visa, but now we have IBM ties. And again, this whole thing of RS Software. We might as well mention Marriott International, big hotel chain. But anyway, RS Software. So again, why point out RS Software? Again, back to this PDF, because it literally mentions microservices-based ISO 222 dev portal in that sandbox. All right, taking into a little bit more about this and why this is so important, I'm going to kick it over to Rue, because after this, you're going to see how we tie in Swift to all this and how we tie in the super app to all this. So I feel as though RS Software, this guy's experience with them previously, is the key plug, because that means we have established that RS Digital Edge or RS Software, that's a big deal. But more importantly, Rue, is just, again, recognizing that this is unlocking the power of digital payments, and this has been around way longer than most crypto or blockchain projects, this guy is probably one of the most unsung people as part of Zebec that doesn't get enough emphasis. Is he the plug and connector to Swift? For me, the answer is yes, and we'll solidify that in a bit. But I just want to get your 2 cents about this, just on the surface so far, because let's face it, brother, sometimes when we dig deep into this, we uncover people like this gentleman.
Okay, if I were to say he's a relation, maybe there's a relation there with Tim Draper. I played for guys on my channel a while back a video of Sam Tapalia, the former CEO but still founder of Zebec, in which he said, I talked to Tim Draper in 2017 about universal healthcare or whatever. But in that time, Draper had already invested in Gemini platform, and it says Aniruddha Dasgupta says he was with Gemini and Visa, which is basically, in my eyes, Gemini and Solana. So maybe Draper got him together with these guys with Zebec, so Zebec could become ISO 20022 compliant. I know they haven't announced to us that they're ISO 20022 compliant, but maybe they could be already, but they're not ready to formally announce it, right? So we already know that Draper's connected into Gemini. Maybe this is where this guy comes in. He comes in, helps Zebec become ISO 20022 compliant, and he moves on to the next task, he has, or the next job he has. And nice find there with this gentleman here.
Thanks, Ray. Appreciate that. I want to show more info, more sources about this for just a brief moment. Let's take you guys over to that. So as we see here, so this PDF, this is page 2. This is, again, RS Digital Edge, and then again the highlights. Sometimes that's all you guys want, is just mainly the highlights. Let's do just that. API based connector for seamless integration. These are the things we want to see. Orchestration engine with low code configurable solution designed for intelligent routing and graceful failover. I mean, some of these technical things we mentioned here, just on the surface, it's like, is this to a sense like Zebec's own version of like I know it sounds crazy, but like over ledger integration? And I'll talk about APIs, right? And more importantly, the connection, the protocols, and so on. Flexible conversion of data format. You have JSON, which Rue is familiar with. You have communication protocols and so on. But look what it says here: ISO 222 compliant with built-in adapters for even ISO 8583 and native message formats. Again, back to the messaging, ISO 222, that's MX. So that's Swift. Swift is now on MX. They literally created the ISO 222 standard in 2004, ironically same year as Ripple was established. So we also see here entity onboarding and master data management, real-time payments, API, smart addressing for payment, alias. All right, right side, look what it says: illustrated use cases, offering diverse payment options, traditional and alternatives. So, again, back to the legacy systems. What about this? Bridging the gap between modern payment rails, again, using ISO 222. So constant references about ISO 222, which is good. And the other thing I think I want to jump down to, which is I think a little bit further down here. Yes, look at this. Out-of-box support for ISO 222 message format while leveraging its rich remittance information for extended data capabilities. Ladies and gentlemen, this may very well be the smoking gun, like back to what Rue was talking about specifically, and I'll kick it over to you, about, again, he has connections to Gemini. Again, think about it, and we saw in those X spaces, or heard in those X spaces, that ISO 222 could probably be done for Zebec being compliant officially by the end of the year. So to me, this all adds up, especially with SIBOS, which is obviously Swiss conference event. I want to get your 2 cents on this. We'll solidify some other things with Swift, and of course the whole thing of the super apps. You guys definitely want to stick around for that. But again, some more of your thoughts on this, brother.
The last thing you showed there shows that it's very flexible. That's one of the things that's really going to be necessary for Zebec. One of the things we're going to get into in the next show is the super app. And for it to be very flexible with the super app, is going to connect into multiple blockchains. And that's one of the things that Zebec has told us here lately, that hey, we have, we're connecting to, like, I think they're up to like 17 chains. And, I kind of suspect that has something to do with their connection to Swift, which Tim Draper is also connected to. But I think this is going to be very necessary for them to be able to easily connect to multiple wallets, for them to easily connect to multiple blockchains. If they plan on using payroll and having that payroll be easily accessible to people, they're going to need it to be very, very flexible for people to be able to easily go in there on board with a wallet really quickly, or easily connect any type of DeFi network as well as TradFi network to it. So, and this is all under there also having to have easily embedded ISO 20022 messaging. So all of this is part of getting Zebec to where it needs to be, to have the super app that will allow for payroll, lending, TradFi, DeFi, and etc.
Awesome. And just to pound it home a little bit more in regard to this guy's background, just in case you missed it, we're going to share it again from the LinkedIn. You see here, JDE consultant for Lexmark project with the RS software, and dating all the way back to 97 to 2001. I think there's actually a little bit more to it than just this one might actually need to be updated a little bit more, but still, this is just a great example. And then to pound it home a little bit more about the whole thing, especially when it comes to the super apps specifically. So in the broader team notes, again, basic grok conversation. Other members like Stelios, he's a new person that's part of, I guess, the Zebec team. We'll get into him in a bit. That's a little typo what they have there. Super app project manager, like I said, focus on product execution. Lacks explicit Swift links, but we'll show you how this is a big deal. The team's 50 plus employees include advisors from HSBC, which, by the way, is a Swift member bank, enhancing indirect access. And look what it says here. These ties position Zebec as a bridge between crypto and legacy finance. And like I said, potentially accelerating ZBCN adoption. That's a big deal. And of course, we're following, the SIBOS announcements. Well, you already saw SIBOS announcement, because you saw that Zebec reposted what was from SIBOS from September 12th. So there's going to be some things that are going to be uncovered here, ladies and gentlemen, about this event coming up on September 29th. Do we see a big bombshell about specifically Zebec in that regard? We could, and we can't guarantee any of this stuff, right? We're just providing research, take it as you will. But for me, where I want to go with this is basically this. Okay, so back to this person who's referred to as Stelios. So you'll see here that they spell his name wrong, right? Grok, he needs to do a better job of spelling this person's name right. So it's this person, and again, back to July 21st, 2025. This is straight from Zebec.io. Blow it up a little bit more for all you guys who are on your phones and so on. Zebec welcomes 2 industry leaders to drive product innovation and design excellence. And in the process of showing this, 2 new team members, right? I mean, again, very somewhat recent, right? You see here the person, the person on the left. That's not the emphasis. It's the guy on the right, Stelios Gerogiannakis. Again, I'm always butchering up the names. I apologize. Senior project manager. We want to highlight this person because he joins Zebec with a powerhouse background in financial engineering and data infrastructure. Again, that's why I showed you the whole thing of RS software. Okay. So to me, this guy is the key link to those protocols, to that infrastructure. One thing to talk about, the possibilities of what Zebec can do, but then to see somebody like this tells you what they're really part of, or what this guy's experience is. Look at a little bit more about this. Most recently, a principal engineer at London Stock Exchange Group. Does that not sound bullish? Also, senior roles at Royal Bank of Scotland and Expedia. His deep technical expertise in the financial systems and big data will be instrumental as we scale Zebec's core protocol, again, that term, protocol, and product suite to meet the needs of institutional clients and global users. Now, I'm going to come into the frame myself on this. Rue and I were working on a key deep dive a while back. We had, of course, audio problems and all sorts of stuff. But you ever notice that there's always so much mentions about quant over ledger integration, and it was key partners. Now, we'll solidify that in another video coming up just to pound it home. But again, back to this, because in the process of getting into this, we also see the whole concept of what? The whole concept, ladies and gentlemen, that specifically speaking, the UK, London, always these references back to the UK. Do you feel as though that is just a coincidence? Guys, I'm telling you, I don't think it is. And then the last part, which of course I'm going to kick it over to Rue right after this. What about Swift? And what about that darn super app? Great question. How the super app would benefit Swift. And as we see here, even Grok agrees. They point out that Swift is the global standard for secure financial messaging, of course, handling trillions of cross-border transactions. But it has been often criticized for being slow. Right, 3 to 5 days for settlements. Right, been there and done that. But Zebec super app under Stelios product leadership could complement Swift. And then we saw what? Boom, let's re-advise you of the research. It's all here in this PDF, and I'll email this PDF to Rue before he can share it on his live show and so on, because I might even share it on maybe on X. Because again, I think this is it. I think this is the smoking gun. This is the infrastructure in my eyes to get it all done. And we take it back to here. We see here, this is going to provide blockchain-based, and look what it says, Rails. Look what it says, Rails. How many times back to that PDF did you see the terminology of Rails? Let's share it back with you. Page 1 of 4 shows with unparalleled adaptability, it effortlessly integrates, everybody, with diverse payment rails. Yes, those rails. Another mention of Rails. RS Digital Edge delivers a seamless financial experience across payment rails, revolutionizing without disruption. Low code. And then back to this. Microservices-based ISO 222 ready. Plus, they even have a dev portal plus sandbox. What about Quant Overledger with their sandbox? Does this not sound familiar to you guys? Absolutely, it does sound familiar. Taking you back to this conversation with Grok, we see here Zebec sponsorship and exhibition at Swiss SIBOS 2025 from September 29th to October 2nd in Frankfurt underscores this potential synergy where they'll showcase payroll, cards, and treasury tools to banks. And here's some of the benefits. Real-time settlements, Swift. For example, a bank uses Swift. We don't know about that. But those messages to initiate transfer, then Zebec's app to execute on-chain with stablecoins benefiting global trade sectors like telecom or e-commerce, and all this mentioned about ISO 222. We'll kick it over to Rue, because Rue, the way I look at it is, brother, what? It's just like this. Back to what you were talking about with that stablecoin that Zebec has ties to. Elaborate a little bit more further about this, just in case everybody forgot. And again, some of your closing thoughts. I think this is some of the best research we've done in quite a while.
This is absolutely perfect as far as it goes for Zebec super app. So imagine now you're getting paid your payroll, right? So now you're getting paid, and they already know who you are through KYC. It's embedded into the app. Now from there, you can use any of your real world assets and tokenize them. Your house, your car, your 401k, your future work, which is earned wages, all of that can be tokenized and now used for whatever. We can also now do your taxes on the super app. We can do all types of DeFi, lending, staking, lending for a car, lending for a house, and we can keep the deed of your house on the super app. So all of that's going to be connected, or need to be connected, into all these different ledgers. And here comes the over ledger, the tax ledger, lending, any lending or credit ledger through or your bank. It could be your bank, credit union, either one of those things. So it's going to be very important that all of that ties back to Swift or something Swift like the XRP ledger, Swift's ledger via, Chainlink, or something like R3 Corda. One of the things we're going to talk about next video is the super app and how Zebec and USDY through Ondo is already getting connected to things overseas. And we already seen with Zebec, they've already started to make a push overseas with things like the science card. So they've already started with the overseas kind of push here. And Simon through the House of Lords told us he's working with them. He's working with England as far as trying to get their stablecoin laws into effect, like they've already gone into effect in the U.S. So when Max said, look at this, London, that's not a coincidence. It's not. And the CEO has already told us this, right? That he's working with them, helping them with their stable coins. So yeah, Max, man, I think this is all coming into play, right?
100%. Guys, so glad to be back with the Brother Rue doing the research as always. Be out on the lookout for the video that's going to appear probably tomorrow, and it's Rue's deep dive. Great research about this super app update with Zebec. What does it mean? Well, you're going to have to find out by tuning in tomorrow for that update. Hey, do us a solid if you listen to the entire outline and type in this key 2 letters into the comments, and that is RS, as in RS software. And we'll know that you listen to the entire outline, as the saying goes. Know what you have, know why you hold it, the research. Yes, the research, the true research, not the fluff. Trump's flood, 110%. On behalf of myself and Rue, we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.